Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Lee Boxell, who disappeared at age 15 on September 10th of 1988. That day he had gone to Sutton High Street with his friend and they just spent some time window shopping. At about 1 p.m. they split ways and Lee said that he was going to go watch a football match. Now they thought that he was going to go to Selhurst Park in Croydon to watch Charlton Athletic versus Millwall, but he could have gone to a number of different games, so it's not even sure that he tried to go there. Either way, he disappeared after that, and a later witness statement placed him around Tesco's, which is now in Asda, which was about 2:20 p.m., and from that location he would not have been able to make the 3 p.m. kickoff at any of these matches because they all started at 3 p.m. If he wanted to get to any of them, he had to travel some time, and 40 minutes was not going to cut it. Now, for a very long time, there were no further witness reports or clues until many years later when somebody said that he may have visited the Shed, which was a youth hangout spot at a church, St. Dunstan's Church in Keene. And YouTube doesn't like the word, but it is rumored that a fair few people who were interested in, shall we say, younger people visited that area, and the person who was actually supposed to unofficially run this shed, this youth club, was the gravedigger of the church, and he was also known to be of that persuasion. And there are quite a few accusations against him in particular that he may have well, actually he did because he got locked up, so that's pretty much certain, but he had actually abused several girls that went there, and several other people report that other things like that happened there quite regularly, and not always involving adults, but there was definitely some interesting activities happening at the Shed, and people suspected that Lee had been a member, that he had frequented that place. Not too many people have come out to actually place him there. There is an inscription on one of the walls where kids who went there frequently inscribed their name. There was somebody who inscribed Lee on the wall, but there was no last name, and it could have been any other Lee. So it's not certain that he went there, just that people really suspect that he may have hung out there because a lot of local youth did at the time. And they also suspect that he may have seen something there that the adults that frequented that area did not want him to see. He may have tried to intervene in something, and that ended up going wrong. The police, while investigating the case against William Lambert, which was the gravedigger, were searching the area, but they were not allowed to dig any of the graves themselves, just around the graves. So if anybody died around that time, around September 10th or September of 1988, it's possible that someone was added to that grave who does not feature on the headstone, but they are not allowed to actually unearth any of those graves, I suppose, because they would need permission from all the different family members and stuff like that. I don't know how it goes, but that's usually the case. You can't just go digging in graves. Of course, that does set up a very lucrative location for somebody who would be inclined to perpetrate such crimes against children, because they can easily dispose of bodies, and in order to dig the grave back up again, you'd have to go through all sorts of hoops that most people will not jump through. So perfect for somebody like that. But okay, these are all alleged allegations because we have no proof, even though the police do believe that that may be the case. He may have also gotten lost in other ways on the way to a football match. We don't know anything, and that is why I've been asked to do a tarot read on the case. On the table you see a deck that I don't think I've used in a reading before. It did feature in my video where I showed all the different decks that I had at the time. Some have disappeared, others have been added. But this is the Renaissance deck, and it's in Dutch, so you'll see some Dutch text on it. For instance, this is the Five of Wands. It has a bit of a metallic look to it. I'm not sure if it's drawn or computer generated, no clue. It's fairly basic in some ways, but also very interesting. It can give some interesting details. That's why I thought I would try it today, and also I haven't used it in a long time, so I figured it would be good to get it out of the cupboard again. And for any further questions, we're moving on to the Botticelli tarot deck, which is this one. This is the fairly decorative one with the artwork and occasionally a little bit of gold in the background as well. So we're going to use that one later for the questions. I'm going to start shuffling this deck, and as soon as we have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, we've got quite a bit of royalty coming over here for them in total, but let's start at the top left as per usual. We have the Page of Wands, followed by the Six of Swords and the Two of Swords. Now, I often see Six of Swords as a ways to go places, being led places, and the Page of Wands here, which is definitely the youthful energy of an adolescent, is somebody who wants to be quick to act, may not think things through quite thoroughly, and combined with the Six of Swords, which I said is like a pathway or being led by something or somebody, being led by words maybe, and the Two of Swords may lead to him making a decision that is hasty and will have to involve some type of travel due to the Six of Swords. So what I said earlier with the potentially accepting a ride from somebody because they were in a hurry may be represented by this, because as I said, it's adolescent energy, so they may not always be making the best decisions, although it's not right. So I think they thought that the choices they had before them were not bad. So there's that. He is trying to make up his mind to go someplace. We do have the Eight of Swords right next to that, followed by the Queen of Pentagrams and the Nine of Wands. All right, so Eight of Swords in reverse, so that is like a mental trap of their own choosing, basically. It could be that they were given a choice, because you do have the Two of Swords here, which is always making a choice, weighing your options. Literally, there is a scale on the card, but in this case, it may have been options that may have seemed heavier or more important than they were. And I'm thinking along the lines of you can either go with me or you can miss the match. Something along those lines, like, oh, I really want to go there. Is this a good idea or not? I don't know. I kind of need to go there, so maybe this is a good idea after all. Either way, a Queen of Pentacles is here, which is usually somebody who's fairly practical. I don't think this is Lee himself. This may be somebody who has offered a ride. In any case, we see somebody who is also tired, because the Nine of Wands is here, which is usually somebody who has carried quite a burden. And this may also just represent like mental tiredness, because I usually read the reverse things as something that's like part of your psyche, almost like they may have been trying to get places and just finding it difficult to get there. And they may have decided, you know what, I'm actually tired of trying to figure out ways to get there. They may have lowered their standards for what is acceptable transportation, and may have accepted this offer of the Queen of Pentacles, who may have very bluntly said, okay, hey, I am going to go in that direction. Either you jump in the car or you can walk. Something along those lines. That's usually more practical thinking from the Queen of Pentacles. Now, the next line, we have another queen. This is the Queen of Wands, which is somebody who really knows what they want. We have a disharmony here with the Four of Wands, and then we have a couple, and we'll get to the couple later. So we're on the same vein here with being offered a choice and the Queen of Wands is perhaps also pushing that choice forward a bit, because we see this harmony with the Four of Wands right here. It kind of reminds me of the bundle of sticks expression, like you can break a single stick, but if you put them in a bundle, it's not the exact expression, but you know what I mean. Like a bundle of sticks is harder to break than a single stick, which kind of says like if you're in a group, you have like a stronger or chance of survival or able to withstand things. But it's kind of like he is not feeling this support. In any case, there isn't a lot of support there for him because it's in reverse, and that is also a disharmony card. As you can see, the Queen of Wands is fairly fiery. There's even a dragon there that she's submitted to her will. So this is somebody who is, aside from being practical, also fairly pushy, or at least not giving him too much of an option. Like a short ultimatum almost, like if you do it now, then you'll be able to make it, and if not, then you're on your own, that type of thing. So he did not like that very much with this Four of Wands. He was not happy with that. Next, though, we see a Queen and a King of Cups, and they're both in reverse. So it's almost like we have a duo that is acting together. And since they're both in reverse, I think they're both quite manipulative, actually. So this might be a couple of people that have come into view who possibly saw an opportunity, and it's followed by the World and Judgment. Judgment is in reverse, so I'm almost tempted to think that this may not have been the right or the same person as these two. I think this is a different person. I think this one and this one are the same person, like giving them an ultimatum, and he's like, okay, I guess I'll do it because she's pushing, and what other options do I have here? I need to go there, I'm tired, with the Nine of Wands there. Might as well. And then we run into a couple over here. Now, I don't know if he actually made it to any kickoff. Doesn't actually seem to be saying anything about that, but we do see that we are introduced to a couple here, which are both very manipulative because they are the King and Queen of Cups, and they are in reverse. And they may have pretended to be very nice, open, and welcoming. I base that on the fact that they both have a seemingly fun-looking dolphin at their feet, or at their tail, I should say, because they both have fish tails. They probably came across him when he was already tired and in this mindset of, oh, I need to do something. It could be that he refused the ride from this person over here, and then he encountered these two who seemed nicer than this other person. Almost like you've just had an encounter with somebody who you didn't like, and then the first person that you run into who is nice to you, you're like, oh, this person's so much better, I'd better listen to what they have to say. That kind of looks like what this is. And we see the World here, followed by the Judgment in reverse. I'm going to grab all four of them. The World usually, at least to me, means that there's like some public display. I often see this as people being aware of this interaction. It could be that somebody saw them together, may have thought nothing of it, and if you saw the grainy photos that were posted back then, I'm pretty sure that people didn't always necessarily recognize or equate the person that they saw talking to this what appeared to be a lovely couple as the person who was later described as missing, Lee Boxell. So maybe somebody saw them. This may have been a very public place, and we are followed, or it is followed by the Judgment in reverse, which I think is them making a bad decision. So it looks as though they were quite taken in, Lee was, by this couple of manipulators, I would almost say, that were very publicly approaching him, and to the World were visible, but I don't think anybody saw any negative intentions from these two. But since they're both in reverse, like I said, they're quite manipulative. So I think he was made an offer after he rejected somebody else's offer, and he made a bad judgment call based on said offer because they were not truthful with him. So let's see what happens after that. What else can we see about this couple and what happened next? Oop, that's quite a large stack, actually. Two of Swords is back. We have, how many cards is this? 5. Okay, so Two of Swords is back. So he is making a negative judgment, but he is still of 2 minds. We have the Star in reverse. This may be the moment where the negative intentions are revealed. This may be the moment where they were in the car and turning in another direction than the one he was expecting. If they were really planning or pretending to be taking him somewhere where he wanted to go. So maybe this is the moment where he is in the car and they turn a different corner and he's like, wait a second, I don't know, should I trust them? This is not quite what I had in mind. The Star in reverse in this case is more like the mask dropping off of these 2 people over here, and possibly also his own light dimming. Then we have the 7 of Wands, which is a challenge coming for the position. Maybe also a challenge mentally as well, because this is a centaur right here, and the original centaur, I think, from mythology was a teacher, and I'm reminded of that person that they were teaching, I think, Hercules? Were they teaching Hercules? They were teaching one of the Greek gods in any case. But anyway, so a wise person's being challenged, or somebody wise challenging them. It could be that he asked them, hey, shouldn't we have gone right over there? And instead we went left. Are you sure this is the right road? And they may have seen that as a challenge. And so there was a bit of a back and forth between them. Like maybe gaslighting as well, like challenging his intelligence, challenging his knowledge of the area. And perhaps that made him quiet down. We have this the 9 of Swords here, which is anxiety, a worry, and it's in reverse. So this is more like the fear is starting to set in, perhaps slowly at first, but it's definitely there as the time progresses. Then we have the Ace of Cups in reverse, which I think is a negative emotion, a new initiative that went sour, or a suggestion made that he definitely did not appreciate. And if you look at the child over there, they appear to be kind of protesting the hand that's kind of reaching for them. And I think this also symbolizes that he was out of control at this point. Like upright, the child appears to be reaching out to the woman there, which I'm guessing is the Virgin Mary, for some support or some other type of comforting or nourishment or something like this. But in reverse, it really strikes me as trying to push somebody away, but not really having the strength, or just the almost like a seniority thing. Like he may not have wanted to go against 2 adults telling him that this is a good idea, because this sounds like a suggestion being made of something that they wanted to do and he wasn't sure about that. But since it was 2 adults against 1 teen, I guess they may have backed down, because you're already in a stressful situation, and then these people are like, oh no, this is good for you and you don't know what you're talking about, and this is another shortcut or something along those lines. Anyway, 9 of Pentacles. So we have here an offer of perhaps some type of financial gain or resource gain. They may have offered him money at this point. And the money is leading to a shoreline. If you look at that, like, it's not just the fact that this person has money. The pentacles are laid out in a path, and there's a person at the start of the path kind of maybe wondering if they should take it, but it's almost like the breadcrumb trail, but then rather the opposite, not leading to freedom, but leading to being taken further away, because in the distance you can see a harbor with a bunch of different ships. So this is almost like being tempted with financial gain or other things that he may have wanted if he were to come with them, that type of thing. So this really looks like an abduction. Now, they said that there were definitely people operating in the area that were, at least back then, minor attracted. I don't think that changes in a person. So if they're still around, they probably still are. But anyway, so it looks like they may have encountered a couple who were into some of that type of thing. At least according to these cards, they may have encountered a couple that was at least up to no good, and trying to tempt him to do things for them with resources, gains. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they were like, oh, you like soccer or football, sorry. Well, if you do this, then you can watch as many games as you like. I don't know if this one wants to fall. It's kind of on my thumb. I'll take it. But this one also fell up. These two also fell. Next we have the Two of Wands, which is kind of like wanting to travel, making travel plans, but this is definitely the travel plans that he wanted. Ace of Pentacles in reverse, so this suggestion that they made, the thing that they wanted to tempt him with, at this point turns out to not be what he wanted. I think this combined with the Two of Wands also shows that the plans that were made were not plans that he wanted to make. Definitely not travel plans that he was interested in, but kind of forced into. Now Judgment is upright. And normally Judgment is a card that kind of has a bit of a sense of hope or relief to it, because you see like the angels coming from the heaven with their trumpets to call everybody who is passed before out of the grave to this great awakening. But if you look at this card over here, it's somebody coming out of the ground and they're either pushing or pulling somebody into a grave, and the person themselves does not look too happy. Also the person behind them is not too happy with this situation either. Could go either way, but this is almost like somebody judging for them, and I think this is a negative version of such. Also drawn to look at the black scarf or whatever it is that's around that man's neck. Like it almost symbolizes a certain method, if you know what I mean. Can't say too much about that because YouTube is very strict with what type of words you can use these days, but it's just the way that I'm like being asked to look at this card. It's like the initiatives that they suggested led to places and things happening that they were not in agreement with. And our person from earlier, the gravedigger, may be involved because we are looking at a gravesite, and this person does not appear to be willingly entering said grave. Okay, we have here Nine of Cups in reverse, so that is definitely not very happy. I am looking at all the people here. It almost looks as though the people on the table are having a great time, and they're all kind of staring at the person who's not, which is the person looking at them from a distance. And there is a cup on the ground, so basically anybody else is having fun except him. That's kind of what this card is showing to me as well. In any case, he did not appreciate any of this. You can kind of see that most people are looking this way, and there's a couple of people looking the other way, which may point towards this being some type of gathering where things happened that not everybody was in agreement with. Some people were definitely interested, having a good time, and then there were a couple of people who were rather not be there, but trying to ignore it. This also looks kind of late in the game, like they arrived late or something, because all of the food appears to be gone. There are crumbs on the table and the cups look to be fairly empty. There's even a cup on the floor. So I think this may be them walking in on something that perhaps he did not want to see, and some people definitely did not want to join, even though they ended up being there anyway. So this looks like a gathering, like the two people that may have offered him a ride were part of this ring that were looking for people to bring to this occasion. It seems as though. What else can we see about this? Okay, Botticelli deck is silent for now. Let's go back to the Renaissance deck, because this may be the end of the road already. Do we get anything from the Renaissance deck? Ooh, that one came out fairly violently. All right, this is Six of Cups. Okay, so we're looking at somebody whom they knew already and they may have been comfortable with, but they are feeling like a child. They're definitely not in control in this situation, so they may have been led into this place by somebody whom they may have trusted at some point. Oop. Two cards. The Fool. Alright, so they may have been led there by somebody, or at least into this further meeting. They may have been led by somebody whom they thought they could trust. But we have the Fool in reverse here and the Two of Cups there. So the Fool in reverse suggests to me either they knew what they were doing or they were being led astray. Now, the Two of Cups does tend to point towards it being somebody that they really liked. And first thing that came to mind was there was a girl that he was interested in. She may have been there and he may have stuck around for her sake. Almost like something to hold on to, and that's why perhaps the Six of Cups also came into view. Now, let's see how this ended. High Priestess. Somebody knows something. It could be that this is the point where he became aware of ulterior motives. I mean, there were already probably a lot of things clear at that point, but I think it became even clearer at some point when he became aware of other people's agendas. Like the snake became obvious, I would say apparent. And then we have the Ten of Wands in reverse. So this is where the Nine of Wands is just being really tired of a burden. The Ten of Wands is normally carrying this burden to completion, but it is in reverse. So I think that he was even further burdened by this meeting. Possibly burdened by the knowledge as well. And trying to make his way out of that. We have the Empress here, which kind of landed on its side, but also kind of in reverse. So this may be somebody whom he thought he could trust, whom he could not, or turned out not to be able to trust, because the Empress is normally somebody who has a lot of love for people, wants to help everybody out. It's like the mother figure type of thing, but in this case, somebody who may have been known to them as such, but is now not doing the right thing for him and others present. Which may also be what the High Priestess here is showing. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. Now, Four of Pentacles is normally like trying to strike some type of balance. It's on its side, and the way that the person is displayed on the card, particularly on its side, does not bode well. It almost looks like, well, not good things. Like harm being done, him being pinned down by people that want to do him harm. That type of thing is what this is looking like. He may have been trying to play his cards wisely, but I don't think that he got the chance to do so. I'm just going to put this one over here. So this might be the point where they lured him in, at least starting over here. Lured into a place he didn't want to go to. He was led because somebody there appeared to have some type of connection with him. He thought that they could be trusted, but then the truth was revealed. They were heavily burdened by that, and the Empress as well is not playing her usual role. She is rather harming rather than helping. And even though he tried to get out of that with the, I guess, the smartest way possible, tried to be smart about it, that did not help. And the last card we have here is the Magician in reverse. Okay, so definitely not able to help himself. The Magician is normally somebody who is fairly resourceful, able to use a lot of things to their advantage, but in this case, that advantage is gone or taken from them. You have more snakes here. Like the snake that he saw here on the High Priestess got multiplied by 4, which is interesting because you have the 4 pentacles here. So these could be 4 people that were trying to make things good for them, but not for the other people, and definitely not for people who were planning on struggling against things that were happening. So I think that that is the end for him. It looks, if we look at these cards, it looks a lot like he was taken by a couple that was very good at manipulating people. Probably had done that before. Like these were people who were well aware of how to accomplish such things. Taken to a different location than where they promised they would take him, and ran into people there that he thought he could trust, which turned out to be very different from what he expected, which led to him being powerless and unable to prevent anything that was happening to him at the time, which I think is also where the end of the story is coming into view. So I don't know if the shed was necessarily involved, but the fact that there were people there that he thought he could recognize, which fooled them or lulled them into a false sense of security, may point toward it being a location that he had definitely frequented before with people that he knew. So there were some people there familiar to him that made it so he didn't immediately run away. And that eventually led to his downfall, which is very sad. Are we going to see any type of justice, or are we going to find him at all? All right, we have strength uprights. We have quite a few cards, actually. Okay, so are we going to see some justice? We have strength upright. So somebody either is still strong, or yeah, they're definitely working on it very diligently. So somebody is definitely still working on this case, and they are very strong. They are very stubborn, particularly because of the Eight of Pentacles, which is somebody who really, really knows their craft and is very diligent about it. So somebody is definitely still working on this case, and I'm guessing that they are going to eventually hold the key to this resolution. We have here the Lovers, which is somebody I'm thinking that they would eventually end up working with. Somebody might grace them with some knowledge, because we have the next card, the Six of Pentacles, which is some type of donation or a charity thing. So this person who is working really hard and is very strong, at least very strong of character, has a strong focus, may eventually come into contact with somebody who can work with them and who will eventually lead, or at least get them some type of lead because of this Six of Pentacles that may end up helping solve the case. Anything else? Oh. Okay. Eight of Swords, which is the mental entrapment again, but it's on its side. So I'm thinking that there's something that they need to let go in order to be able to look at this case with fresh eyes that will make this donation of wisdom and or resources come to fruition. So I'm thinking that somebody who is working really diligently on this case may currently be heading down a dead end, and they might be ignoring something here with the Eight of Swords, and they might need to change their thinking. It also kind of looks with that guy in the tree as the Hanged Man, like you need to take a new perspective on something. So there is something that they're stuck on with their thoughts about this case, and they kind of need to basically wipe the slate clean, start over from the beginning, and look at things with fresh eyes, which can be very difficult to do, of course, and therefore a person coming in from the outside might help with that, because they may look at the evidence and go, hey, did you ever look at this? And then they'll like make a connection that the investigator may previously not have made, which may lead to more information, which may eventually lead to figuring out this case. So that is what I'm seeing for Lee Boxell. I hope you found that interesting. If you could leave a like or a comment or both, that'd be great. It really helps the channel along. And I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching again, and bye-bye for now.